welcome, guys. Hi. I don't know if you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, put a number one on the chat. If you guys cannot hear me, put a number two. I see already that Irby started that chat early. Shout out to Irby. Fatal. I'm gonna say it in Spanish because you're not explaining, so of course. I hope everybody is having a good night, a good evening. The weekend has started. The weekend is here, guys. After a crazy week. This week has been crazy, guys. If you can hear me, I hope you guys can hear me. I don't see nobody put in number one. I know that we have some satellites listening to the stream. Thank you for the satellites on the stream. I see that Jose is here. Hey, Jose, what's up? Welcome to the stream. I see that Mulatto it's putting a number one. What's up? Prime BA757 is also here. Guys, thank you so much for getting the panel started. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. Guys, it's been crazy the amount of madness that we have seen during this week. It's week 2 of Donald Trump's presidency, and you guys know, look, you guys know how a Trump presidency goes down. Every week is packed with headlines that are inflammatory and crazy, and everything that happens on any regular day is 10 times more important when it happens under a Trump administration. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I've noticed that a lot. Like all of a sudden, we've had planes crashing many times. I'm not talking about the Black Hawk or like the American Airlines airplane. That's an isolated incident, but I'm talking about like we have planes crashing, like the one that we just found out. I think in Philadelphia, there's one that breaking news just crashed. Um, but we had the Boeing situation going on with those planes messing up. We even had astronauts. Okay, we had 2 astronauts that could not come back home during Biden's presidency. Those 2 are still in space. They were supposed to be here, I think, 8 months ago. They had now to wait because of Boeing. That happened under his presidency. But if it would have happened under the Orange Man, that would have been 10 times worse. And I'm here for it. You guys know I like political drama a lot. I love squeezing it. I love talking about it. I like irritating folks sometimes with truth, of course. But I definitely love what's happening because it gets people talking about topics that we don't like to talk about. And one thing in particular that you guys know is that in our culture, in the Latino culture, I don't care if you are from Mexico or Bolivia, we do not talk about Bruno. We don't talk about politics. It's a no. We don't talk about Jesus. We don't talk about God. It has to be God. It has to be the Virgin Mary. It has to be Cristo Rey. Nothing else matters. Okay. We don't talk about those things. We just don't. Okay. So aside from money, which is another topic that I've touched on here and got insulted about, politics is one that really gets on their people's nerves. Like for real, people really can't hate you because of your political views. That is something that is notorious in our people. Now, to get the show started, guys, make sure that you like this video, subscribe. If you have your friend that you watch this show with, make sure you send them the link so they can join us here on the channel. Also, I want to say, guys, if you have never donated to the channel, now is the time to do that. Don't be shy. It can be $1, 50 cents, whatever you want. Now is the time. There was somebody that it's not here, but send me a donation early this week. I want to thank that person very much. But if you, like I said, if you want to support the platform, this is the way to go. I always put it on the screen so you guys can make those donations to this platform. Now, guys, one thing I want to say is that look at Rat says, since living up in upstate, there's a lot of warehouses up here, and these companies are doing mass hiring with huge bonuses for signing up. Guys, America is desperately hiring you. I don't know if you guys remember the uh the news last year about it, it was all 2023, 2024. A lot of folks were shopping for a job. A lot of people were applying for jobs, labor, like skilled labor, unskilled labor. I don't care what you were like literally applying for. And for some reason, it looked like it was a hiring freeze all across America. You will have like 4 interviews and they never yield results. Never, you never got hired. And people were like, why I can't get hired? Like, there was even people trying to beef up their resumes and cover letters using AI, and they were still not getting hired. I follow specifically a lady that used to tell us that in order for you to get hired, your resume has to be of 7 pages, because she realized that the algorithm picked up on specific words, and your chances of having those words in your higher if your resume was more beefed up. So people, Americans were going crazy just to get hired, and they were not getting the job. I see that Airbnb is back. Morena's back. Hey, what's up, Morena? Guys, once again, don't forget to subscribe to Morena Titi Juju's channel. Like I said, her streams are lit. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but that is something that a lot of Americans were complaining about. Well, now all of a sudden, we've seen job sites getting desperate to hire people, and I'm just gonna show you for the, there's always people that think that I'm lying when I say like the ghost job postings is a thing. This was something that happened in August 22, 2024. It's not something I'm making up. CNBC said it. Okay. So not Denise, NBC. Now it says ghost jobs. What the rise in fake job listings says about the current job market. And this was just August 2024 that we're talking about, roughly 8 months ago. Well, 6 months ago, I'm sorry. And it says legitimate companies are increasingly posting fake job listings, often referred to as ghost jobs. 4 in 10 companies posted fake job listings in 2024, and 3 in 10 are currently advertising for a role that is not real, according to May survey from Resume Builder. It says ghost jobs are actually not scams. They are from real companies, but they are openings that don't actually exist, said Geoffrey Scott, senior content manager and hiring manager at Resume Genius. That company is not actually hiring for that role at this moment in time. They might be interested in hiring for that role in the future, or maybe they were hiring for it, but due to budget cuts, those roles were closed or put on hold. So supposedly for budget cuts, but let's keep reading. It says Revelio Labs, a US-based workforce intelligence company, found that the rate of hires per job posting has essentially halved. Look at it here. Has essentially halved over the past 5 years. That means that if this was in 2024, this is 2019, folks, right before the pandemic. Okay. But we were supposedly in the strongest economy. Do you guys remember when Joe Biden kept saying that, oh, we have all these million jobs? And we were telling him, bro, bounce back jobs from the pandemic are not real jobs. But let's continue. It says in 2019, there were 8 hires for every 10 job postings. That means that 2 were empty. By 2024, that number had dropped to 4 hires per 10 job postings. It says, I think this is a pretty worrying development because it just softens the signal of what a job posting really means, said Lisa Simon, chief economist at Revelio Labs, and whether there is truly a hiring intention behind that form from the employer's point of view. Simon added, it's important to know that while the U.S. job market slowed significantly in July, the overall labor market remains healthy. How the F? I want people, this is the problem that I have with news sometimes. How the F the job market will stay strong if you're not hiring people? You see how they virtual signal a lot, because, and it's not to us, it's just to like, the Democratic Party for the most part. They always tell the truth, but then they tell you, they gaslight you at the end to make you feel like, oh no, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. And it says the rise of ghost jobs is muddying the jobs report. It's making it harder for the Fed. The Fed, for the people that don't understand what the Fed is, the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is the one that establishes if we need higher interest rates, lower interest rates to stimulate the economy. What do we need? Or if they're supposed to manage the economy so that we don't enter a recession. So I don't know if you guys understand how this is the reason why everything is so freaking unaffordable. And it says it's making it harder for the Fed to make decisions and understand what the labor market looks like, say Dan Kaplan, senior partner at Korn Ferry, an HR consulting firm. Anecdotally, people will tell you that it's very tough out there. We've talked about this notion of unhirables. People who are out of work get laid off and just cannot find a job. They cannot buy an interview. Now, here goes again, like the whole propaganda of blaming the employee, blaming the people applying for the position. The only reason I brought that article is because first, it shows you guys that there was a quote unquote like job positions shortage for the American worker, and they started complaining. So Americans do want work, and there was always an excuse that was always blaming the worker one way or the other for the shortcomings of this company. I see that. So yeah, at the end of the day, guys, the corporations keep lying about this, and of course, mainstream media covers up for them because they supply each other. It's a symbiotic relationship. I put lipstick on this pig so that the public stays calm. I will indoctrinate them for you, but you got to pay me. That is the concept of mainstream media. Okay, so now, after all these years, right, of telling us that the problem is us, or you don't go to college, so that's why you don't get a job, or you don't have a BA, that's why you don't get a job, or you don't have enough experience. That is something that millennials know firsthand. As you guys know, I'm a sound engineer, and when I was in Puerto Rico, I worked, and I think I still have a few pay stubs somewhere in this house. From that time, I worked till 2011 for a radio station as a master control, operator, and the pay was $9 an hour. I'm not even joking. That was $9 an hour, and you were in charge of everything. Okay, you had to be an octopus in order for you to really get the job done. Now, I didn't have college debt like Irby. Irby says he has college debt. I don't have college debt, but it's because I did everything that you can possibly imagine. I'm not even freaking joking. I used to I fry chicken, I fry fries. I was a Taco Bell manager. I did people's hair. Okay. I work at the radio station. I did everything you could possibly imagine. I even went to the capital in Puerto Rico to ask for a scholarship, which they gave me, and thanks to them, I graduated. But I did not want it to get a loan. I'm sorry, I was not going to be able to do that. And it was like the most stressful time of my life, because trying to find ways to pay for college while in college, and to the people that have done some form of engineering or electricity, you guys know that the mathematics on engineering are freaking crazy. Okay, so having to do that, and on top of that, going to school, trying to concentrate and deal with your problems, it's a lot. Okay, so you come out of that and you go into the workforce and you say, hey, I think now I deserve more than $9 an hour. Well, the market tells you no. And even with my experience, I had years of experience because thanks to my mother, I landed that job while still in college. She encouraged me and she pushed me to still go for it and just pretend that I knew what I was doing, which I didn't, because degree is doesn't cover radio. I had to just make it on the go. But thanks to her, I got that job. I got in the door. She got me in the door. Don't ask me how she managed to contact the radio station manager so that I could go and interview with them while I was still in college. So even with that experience, even with the knowledge that I gained, even with anything, they were still asking me, oh, you need 2 more years of experience. Oh, you're going to need a master's, or you're going to need this. Then I moved here because you cannot, working for rappers, contrary to what popular belief, working for rappers is not a sustainable life. Okay, because these people sometimes they don't pay you, they try to get it on the cheap. And if you're in audio, you know what I'm talking about. You are going to be like a greaseball peasant that's gonna live with 7 roommates in a 2 bedroom apartment. I am not even freaking lying about this. That's just how it is. You're gonna eat a lot of ramen. Your meals are gonna consist of a lot of Chef Boyardee for a while. So I moved here, and then oh, now you're overqualified for certain jobs, and then for other jobs you need a master's degree. So you guys see how the American worker never sees a way out, because then I want to work. But if you don't give me the job and you ask me for experience, how am I going to get the experience if you're not giving me the freaking job? You get my point? So I don't know how that it's something sustainable. So now that the American worker was upset, they revolted against the illegal migrant, which is the favorite source of labor for corporations. Now job sites are empty. They are literally like the desert. There's nothing there. And look at Morena. She said that's the BS. Yeah, that is the BS. They always tell us, oh, you have to stay in school, stay in school. School is not, it's not all that. We've seen articles of people that went to USC on that social worker program and now are like in debt eternally. You never pay off that student loan. As a matter of fact, my mom almost finished her PhD. She let it go in her 40s. She's like, I'm not gonna finish the PhD. And she occurred $32,000 in student loan debt. And now she passed away on October 11, 2024. Now, in January 2025, I'm still receiving letters charging her money for her student loan. That's something I have to deal now with Elnet. So her student loan, and that was 2004, her student loan outlived her. And she paid 205 every freaking month, $205 every month. So that is to give people a perspective of what the job market is. They started demanding more certifications, education, bullshit, and it got ridiculous. Now, job sites, job sites are empty, and it's making the news, and everybody's supposed to feel sorry because it got the migrants to think. The migrants and all of, look, not just the migrants, but their sponsors. And what is a migrant sponsor? I'm gonna put it out there. What is a migrant sponsor? A migrant sponsor is an American citizen that is under the boot of the oligarchy, but they are still telling the world that American workers that are starving because they cannot afford the regular commodities and work more than medieval peasants, that those Americans do not want to do those jobs. That is a sponsor. So that's what I'm going to call them. The Chicago Tribune says people are hiding. Chicago immigrants stay home from work to avoid potential ICE arrests. You don't have to stay home if you're a legal worker. And I get a lot of people were telling me, ah, you're Puerto Riqueña. You're not scared that they're going to deport you. I have legal documentation. It's not hard to submit that documentation. Show your freaking ID. Show your social security. Show your passport. That's not hard. Like I said, I wish they would deport me. But during the summer, again, during the summer, after the 25th, we're good. Now it says, when reports surfaced over the weekend that mass deportations could potentially begin in the Chicago area Tuesday, that was this past Tuesday, Martin Ramos informed his boss that he was taking time off from work, stocked up on groceries, and decided his kids will skip soccer practice. Ramos, who emigrated from Guadalajara, Mexico. I thought Mexicans, the slow taps told us that Mexicans were not coming here anymore. I thought that's what they told us when we told them to get ready. He said, without the necessary work permits, so he's undocumented, spent the first full day of Donald Trump's second presidency hunkered down with his family and trying to avoid being picked up by ICE agents. An arrest he knows will destroy everything he and his wife work for and force their two boys into an uncertain future. We have to do everything possible to keep our children safe. Ramos told the Tribune, what will they do if we get deported? ICE agents did not show up at the Joliet factory where Ramos and his wife both worked Tuesday, but the fear inflicted upon employees there was evident. A co-worker told Ramos that only 10 out of the typical 40 to 50 workers showed up. Look, I've seen a lot of videos I've seen of job sites empty. And I saw a video of like a job site in Florida that only out of 40 construction workers, only 8 showed up and continue working. And people keep saying, see, Americans don't want to do this job. See, Americans that where these jobs are available. The sponsors keep saying that stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. Dear sponsor of illegal labor, because that's what it is. Dear sponsor of illegal labor, there's not a single American in this nation. There's not a single American in this nation that has been desperate for a job, unskilled or skilled labor. There's not a single American that will not take one of those jobs. Okay? Yes, you're going to see empty job sites. That's going to happen all across the nation. It's going to happen to levels we've never seen. But instead of you as a sponsor to these people saying, oh, you see, Americans don't want to do these jobs, what you should be saying instead of that is this is the extent to what the American worker has been betrayed. That is what that signals. That doesn't signal to me Americans don't want to do this job. I'm sorry, guys. I have to move a little bit. Yeah, that doesn't signal to me that Americans don't want to do the job. That signals to me that the American worker has been betrayed for so long that now Americans are barely present in the workforce because there's no freaking way that a meat packing plant has 8 workers out of 50 and you were telling me that we were keeping this legal. Oh, only eight people showed up. Only 8 people were legal. Only 8 people were Americans. You were keeping these jobs to save yourself some pennies. And I'm going to go even further. Dear sponsor, and I asked this on my Instagram, I think last week. If you are so butthurt by the deportations of illegal labor, would you offer your job to them? And you can take their place and be unemployed, and they can do your job. Because migrants come from all brackets of society, skilled, unskilled. So give them your job. Because, like I said on Monday, there's only a certain amount, there's only a flat amount of positions that are going to give to the peasants. Like the peasantry is not going to get more jobs. Okay, we cannot. It's simple. That's just how mathematics work. There's only a certain amount of jobs, and you got to take them. That's it. And every job site that I see empty, I just see a slaver. That those are slave plantations. So that's the same thing that when black slaves were freed, those were the same headlines. Hey, job sites are empty. Nobody's picking the cotton. Hey, nobody's picking up the corn. Hey, that's the same thing that we're seeing now. Hey, nobody's packing the meat. Yeah, nobody's packing the meat because you decided to give Consuela the position to pack up the shampoo because she would take $12 an hour because you did not want to pay Richard 12 $17 an hour. You didn't want to pay Kristen $22 an hour. You didn't want to pay Keith or Tyrone $27 an hour, $30 an hour for meat packing. Of course, you don't have nobody at your plant. Of course, you don't have nobody packing that shampoo now. That's what happens. So the sponsors, and this is for Latinos, sponsors that keep crying over empty job sites. You are traitors to even your fellow Latino that are here legally, because you think that those people are more important than us. And the reason why I say that, because a lot of people will say, oh, you're being divisive. No, the reason why I say it like that is because they have an opportunity to do something in their country. Americans, this is their country. There's no where are they gonna go? Where are Americans gonna go? Where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna go? Where are Americans going to go? To your country? I see that Mulatto said, I wouldn't call them slave sites because the illegal immigrants are choosing to work and have the option to leave at any time. That is a fact. But at the same time, Mulatto, that is slavery. Now you opted in. Yes, 100%. But let me put you onto this game, because there's a lot of things, a lot of times Americans don't understand this. If, let's say, we live in a gated community, right? And that gated community is very beautiful, and we have a lot of people that maintain it pristine and delicious. They not even a nick on the curb. Every week we get pressure watch curbs. We have flowing water in our lawns. They're not more thick than 2 inches. They are beautiful, right? We have a rose garden, everything. It's a beautiful gated community. Our gates are even made out of brass and gold and everything, right? Now, imagine if we say, hey, I want HOA fees to go down from $405 a month on this gated community to $55. I don't want to keep paying for $100 to keep up this freaking gated community. I love my community, and I don't want nobody else to live in here because I want my community to keep me outside of the rest of the the suburb I live in. So what I'm going to do is go to the neighboring, we're gonna pay to get the neighboring neighborhoods. We're gonna steal shit from them. We're gonna steal their cars. We're gonna hire a hacker so that they can drain their accounts. We're gonna make them desperate. and they're going to start looking for extra jobs, and we're going to put everything more expensive. And when they start looking for a job, we will offer a hand. We will make it seem like they can come in here and work, even though we don't want them. And we're gonna set their houses on fire. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna pretend that we like them, whatever, so they can stay in our service rooms, and they can service this HOA uh oversought community. And because we're giving them a place to stay, we can pay them less than what we pay the company that's giving us service. How about that plan? So they go ahead and do that. That gated community goes ahead, starts setting everything on fire. And people still, they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to have to look for a place to keep my family. I don't have where to put my two toddlers or like my two kids. I need to find like a cheap room or anything. And I announce, I am giving a free room, free stay, your stay in server, and salary included. What would you do if you are one of those families that got your house burned, your car stolen, and your account drained? Because that is exactly why people migrate here. We often tell people, build something in your country. And don't get me wrong, I am 100% for Latinos to get some cojones and fix our stuff, get nuclear power, establish military forces, fund it, get your shit together. I'm all for that. But we also had to give America what is from America. I'm just going to give El César lo que es del César, right? And America loves to sabotage the rest of America so that they are the only America, so that you and me are forced to come here and accept whatever conditions you set so that you can serve them for less, simply because they can no longer enslave the African descendants. That is not something that requires a lot of mathematics. Exactly what MXC says. It says the United States obligate people to immigrate to the United States. Yeah, they do it like that. But then they go around and tell you, oh, nobody forced them to come here. Yeah, to sabotage you did. To sabotage you did. You forced them because you went into, their countries to interfere, sabotage, and interrupt processes of even democracy over there. We've seen it. I did a stream on that. It's called The Empire Strikes Back. I'm never going to forget that stream. It's one of the most impactful streams I made here. Look up, I'm a Puerto Rican, and we're a territory, a colony of the United States of America. And they even sabotage us. So yeah, this is something that we're forced to come here. Do you really think me, a girl that grew up with clean air, clean water, my primos were my neighbors, I no silence, I could eat from whatever the earth will give me. My parents' house had plenty of room. We had a pool, we had a backyard, we had a casita, we had anything you can possibly imagine. We were comfortable. I had good education. Do you think I wanted to leave the island to come here and live in a shoebox in a major city that has a small cloud covering the air? So my lungs are always compromised. It has a lot of noise all the time. It's never quiet. It has light pollution, and it's never really dark at night. Do you really think that I wanted to come here because it was better? No, fuck no. I didn't want to come here. I didn't. I had to. And that is the reason why there is people that want to come here because they love the Americana. They love the way this country is built. And those people that love the Americana culture come here all the time. That's not what this Latino migration is about, right? So I hope that explains a little bit that concept to the people in the back that never heard from our perspective why this is happening and why a lot of Latinos come here like they do. And Morena says here, I'm going to read a lot of comments that have come up after this. She says, of course, they always interfere in their governments and politics. Yeah, 100%. MXC says, the United States manifested destiny. Read it. They make us come to the United States. They obligated my parents to do so. Wow, that is crazy, MXC. He says the United States invaded DR several times, and the last time they removed a Democratic president. I've seen that. Look at what they're doing. They're doing with Venezuela and Guaido. People wanted Maduro. If Venezuelans did not want it to put up with Maduro, like they put up with Chavez, because a lot of people talk about Chavez, but nobody talks about how good Venezuela was back then, right? Before 2013. Nobody talks about how good Venezuela was. You could go to Venezuela and have a great time, have a great surgery and look beautiful. Venezuela was not what people think Venezuela was, right? Maduro is incompetent. That's not up for debate. But if Venezuelans don't want Maduro, then they have to take care of that. But it's my understanding that a lot of them do want Maduro. A lot of them do. And until they choose not to, then stay out of it, because a lot of people are like, oh, their process is not democratic, and ours is. Who the fuck is America to dictate democracy when we don't even have democracy? Like, what democracy? Like, come on. It's like in Nicaragua, the elections, I think it was somebody correct me, I think it was 2022, 2023, the elections were 100% democratic. People chose to go right, to go into socialism or whatever you want to call it. That's what Nicaragua chose. They thought that was the best option, but that was democratic. The people chose that. The elections were clean. And we thought, oh no, let's appoint something else. We didn't like that. We didn't like that. We didn't like that. They talk about Nayib Bukele and said that he, for cleaning El Salvador and making it a country you want to be in and live in and giving you quality of life as a Salvadorian, that he's violated civil rights. Oh, he's violating people's civil rights. Who is America to dictate that? When right now, like, to be honest with you, MS-13 and a lot of other gangs in El Salvador that came from here were over there terrorizing Salvadorians and making an narco state. That's why they were coming over here. So stop it. Who are we to dictate what freaking democracy is when we are not even an example of democracy? The heck? Mulato says, respectfully, the way to stop the destabilization of Latin American nations is for Latinos to stay in Latin America and fight against the U.S. destabilization tactics. Moving to the U.S. does not help. Yeah, 100%. We're not going to disagree on that. That's 100% true. The only way to do that is that way, unless, like I said, in our case, in the Puerto Rican case, that's going to take military intervention. That's going to take unity, and it's going to take nuclear power. It's the only way. There's no. Same with Cubans. It's the only way. Those are two islands. I'm sorry, but it's the only way. It's the only way. But to be honest, I agree with you, and I've said it on this channel several times. We have to come together, but it's something that I noticed that a lot of Americans, specifically brothers and sisters of the Black community, keep telling us, you guys need to unite, need to unite, need to unite. And that's not a wrong sentiment. We do need to unite. But you guys have to understand that the Latin community is not like the Black community, because the Black community is a homogeneous community. You might be from the South, you might be from the West, you might be a weirdo from the East. But Black folks, if something happens to one of them, they're going to come together based on the sentiment of being one people. Latinos are not. The only thing that we were united on is Spaniards' colonization, Spaniards' implementation of their culture in our countries. and it looks different in every one of our countries. And if you learn our history, which is something that is not pretty common, because I don't know why we don't make this history known, our indigenous people, the base that how can I say it, the sauce, the base of the sauce that created the stew of Latin America, plus the colonization of Spain, for every country and every region in Latin America, that is 100% different. As a matter of fact, in Mexico itself, Mexico, same country, you have Aztecas on the north and you have Mayas on the south, like the bottom part of Mexico. You have two different indigenous people clashing against each other. They're not the same. The same goes for South indigenous people. Those are Incas. You have the Inca Empire down there. In the Caribbean, you have the Caribs, you have the Tainos, you have different people that have different reactions to stuff. And if you look at uh the response, the indigenous responses in their cities and their civilizations and the way they responded to Spain, and their results are 100% different. So it's going to be very difficult to bring 34 different countries together. I think we talk about this, and I think I talked about this with Marcelo a while ago. I think, in my opinion, the only way to find some form of unity is to create a consulate, like the NATO, but not military, or into bully, right? Bullying other countries. I think that we should divide Americas in three sections, especially the Latin countries. Caribbean countries need to stay together. South America needs to stay together. Central America and Mexico needs to stay together because they are the most similar. And based on that sentiment, then they can unite. If something were to happen, they can start developing themselves. The only way we will come together is if we have a meeting with representatives from each region, right? And we decide, yeah, this is a threat to all of us, and this is how we're going to address it, and we're going to supply these military forces for that. That is the order that, in my opinion, is 100% doable. But there's no way you're going to have a Dominican having any similarity beyond Spanish and Catholicism with a Ecuadorian or with a Salvadorian or anything like that. They don't even eat the same food, but they will have a lot in common with Cubans and Puerto Ricans and even Colombians. So I hope that explains it a little bit. Now, another thing that I wanted to explain to a lot of Black Americans that keep telling us that we gotta unite is, yes, we do have to unite. But in order for us to unite, people have to go through some shit. I said it, I think, on the previous stream on Wednesday. Unless other countries go through some stuff with Uncle Sam to the extent that we have. We're not talking about infiltration or sabotage or nothing. No, no, no. We're talking about massacre. We're talking about blood. We're talking about slavery. We're talking about bondage. Until they go through that, starvation, famine, until they go through that at the hands of Uncle Sam, they're never going to unite with us. So we have to exercise tough love. What happens when you tell your kid, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove. At some point, you're going to let your kid get burned because they have to understand how dangerous it is. That's what we're doing right now. When we're saying we're unbothered, when we're saying that we're not moving a finger, that we're not intervening with this, is because we've been telling these people, yo, this is how America functions, and you need to do this. And they, very cocky, have told us that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, that we are uneducated, that we are monkeys, that we are this, that, make fun of colonial state, make fun of Cuba for still being under the embargo, talking shit about people that you don't know nothing about. They even talk about their Americanized counterparts over here. We see the war between the immigrant and the Americanized Latino. So at the end of the day, our community is so fragmented, and it's fragmented based on their experience of the United States. And for us to unite like you do, and this is my open letter to Black Americans, in order for us to unite like you do, we got to let some of our people taste in their mouth blood after being punched in the mouth by Uncle Sam. Okay? So don't keep telling us we got to unite. We don't. We got to let them get burned. Let it burn. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Oh Lord. Look at Don Armando. Look at Don Armando. He says Latinos don't get along. Why you think we have 30 Latino gangs in the United States? Yeah, 100%. 100%. MXC, I don't know. Oh, you have to be one of the slow taps. Oh, I get it. I get it now. You think Spain was a blessing from the start. Yeah, that's what I keep talking about. Like if you guys this is even here, we can agree. MXC and me can agree on certain things, but even here you can tell that he thinks Spain was a gift from God to Latin America. I don't. I generally like God. If God send people to exterminate Tainos, I don't know how to feel about that. Hey, I don't know. I don't know your God, bro, but my God, I don't think my God sent uh, Spaniards to exterminate Latinos. I don't think that's what God wanted. Now, Logic's Finest says, my madrina is a history teacher. She taught me a lot about the various ethnic groups amongst the Western Latin nations before and post colonization. Yeah, that is something that needs to happen. We need to start putting and teach with love and patience. Teach with love and patience your American friends and family that don't know our history, because to them they only see us today, and I can't really blame them. Of course, nobody has to memorize. Oh, memorize my history, because if not, you are insensitive. No, nobody has to do that. That's our job. If they want to learn too, because we know that people have to be clocked in somewhere, so they don't necessarily have the time to listen to our japping about our history. If they want to learn where we come from and they're interested, yeah, we have to be more than open to tell people, hey, this is how things went down in our side of America. um Anyway, I don't want to get MXC. I don't want to get into like a Columbus. Before Columbus reached the New World, the natives were fighting each other. Yeah, that happens throughout civilization. They didn't exterminate each other because Tainos were Arawakan, which is the base culture of Venezuela and Brazil, and they had a fallout, and that's how they ended up in Puerto Rico and in Haiti. So yeah, they were fighting each other, but they were not committing genocide. I don't know what history have you read, but killing 72 million indigenous people, leaving only 3 million of them alive, 72 out of 75 million, it's called genocide. Look it up. It's called genocide. Yeah, germs from who? Who brought the germs? Who brought the germs? Who brought the germs? Thank you. That's like what we're talking about, like Bill Gates bringing democracy and civilization through vaccines to Africa. Anyway, so guys, job sites are empty, people are salty, sponsors are salty. Americans, now, like I said on Monday, you're gonna start seeing a change of the tune on a lot of corporations now trying to catch you. And I want to go back to what Radical said, if I can find his comment, when he said that corporations are now, there was a upstate where he was, they're already offering a signing bonus. Do you guys remember that? Look at this. He says NFL Staples and Market Firm are warehouses around me, starting with $23 to $26 an hour. You see, that's crazy. Look, he said here earlier, since living in upstate, there's a lot of warehouses up here, and these companies are doing mass hiring with huge bonuses for signing up. And that is because now we finally got rid of the illegal labor. That is the reason why we have that going on. So with that being said, guys, I a lot of people, and again, I hate that I have to keep saying this. I wish Ramon was here, but Ramon, once again, I'm going to take the opportunity publicly because you said that you were going to answer this, and I want people put in the chat your sentiments when it comes to this stuff, guys, because I cannot be the only one. I cannot be the only one. Let's listen to Bill Clinton and what he has to say about migrants. Let's listen to him, and then we're gonna see our brother Ramon and his opinion on, because I decided to post the hypocrisy. Let's see what Ramon thinks about this. But let's hear first. You know what? Let's go back to Obama. Let's hear Obama.
If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century. You'll be deported.
Now, the kids in cages. Do you guys remember that? This is something that people try to make it seem like it was Donald Trump's fault. Oh, he's so mean. He's so mean. He has kids. He has kids in cages. Yes, Obama built those cages because Obama was the first president that wiped his ass with human rights. And he didn't care. He wanted just to get these people out of here. So, look, President Obama wants to continue imprisoning immigrant families. Do you guys remember when people were telling us Monday, the cats? Where was the outrage? Where was the outrage? I'm going to read a few things that I posted on that post. It says the Obama administration doubled down on one of its worst immigration legacies, the return and expansion of family detention. Responding to a court order holding that its family detention camps violated the 1997 Florida Settlement Agreement, the Obama administration Friday again defended family detention as necessary. And the reason why he wanted to do that is because he wanted to deport as many illegals as he could, as fast as he could. He said the Obama administration now argues that it needs to detain families in order to speedily deport those who are initially found ineligible for relief. But as the ACLU has documented, such fast-track deportation procedures are fraught with error, routinely resulting in the expulsion of people to places where they face persecution. The Obama administration's filing represents but its latest failure to respect due process and human rights. Since last summer, when families and children fleeing violence in Central America came to the southwest border, the administration has refused to treat the situation for what it is, a humanitarian crisis. That was Barack Obama, the president that everybody loves to receive. Thank you, Logic, because I was going to head to this. Obama deported 3.5 to 5 million people. He was the deporter in chief. We've said it several times. Obama is the most anti-Latino president in American history. Nobody, and I mean nobody is more anti-Latino than Obama. Obama took the wet foot, dry foot from Cubans. Obama imposed the dictatorship oversight board, La Junta in Puerto Rico, taking our rights to vote. even though we are U.S. citizens and there's civil rights under the Constitution for us to vote for whoever rules our nation. But he took that away. And he deported all those illegals. There's a reason why, and I think I covered that on this stream a while ago. I don't remember exactly the stream, but if you've been rocking with me, you know this. Obama brought down from 14 points, 17 points, 17% of unemployment. He brought it down to 7%. Okay, that was a record low. No president has ever done that. And the reason why he did that is because he identified, just like his predecessors, the Clintons, he identified that the reason why people were not getting any jobs and the yes, we can that he needed to promise was because you had too many illegal workers here. That's the reason why the unemployment rate plummeted and people were thriving under the Obama administration at some point, even though everything was more expensive because, of course, he had greedy corporations to respond to. But you were still employed. You were still employed. And those same practices, because let's not forget, Donald Trump is a Democrat at heart. He just recently turned Republican. He was always a Democrat. That's just how it is. Let's just call it what it is. He just picked up what Obama started and continued. So people blame it on him because apparently he's the wrong color. He's orange and people only accept this from white and black Americans, not orange Americans. Now, let's go to Hillary because, again, it's only a problem when the orange people say it. Let's hear Hillary, what she has to say.
Oh, I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
Now, does that sound to y'all like a Trump rally or not? Because it does to me. It does to me. That's a Trump rally right there. So, guy, I'm telling you, if you think that, and trust me, I'm gonna land the plane. Our dear friend Ramon, I have a question for you because he heard Obama. The Obama thing had a lot of receipts. So he couldn't put it there. He was like, Hillary, she was never president, but he couldn't take Bill.
Not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Now, round of applause, but apparently my brother, my Puerto Rican brother, Ramon, I don't know what you mean by this. Please answer my own question. He said, You too with the false equivalence, Chica. I'm going to do my own video about this, and I'm waiting. Please subscribe to the Introvert Boricua because we're going to wait for his video. I want him to explain to me what is the false equivalence, because I don't want to call him a Democrat. I don't know how his political leanings are, and I don't like to misrepresent people, but it's screaming Democrat to me. And that's why I asked, where's the outrage? Is it because an orange person is saying it? Is it because of that? Is it because he's orange? Is it because, oh, he's not supposed to say it? What's the difference? Because he's Republican, he's not supposed to say it. If it's Republican, he's not supposed to say it. I'm only mad because he's Republican, because that's literally the definition. And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna bootlicking. This is bootlicking mentality, Ramon. You gotta cut it off. And the reason why I'm saying that you gotta cut it off is because you're doing the bidding of people that don't care about you. They don't even care about their own. They don't care about their own workers. What makes you think they care about you? They don't care about us. They keep preaching specifically to the Puerto Rican community. Obama came down to our island in 2011 to promise us that he was going to take care of our status. And he did. He took care of our status. He took us from a somewhat democratic island to a dictatorship. He did what he promised. And it's impossible for me to fathom why a fellow Puerto Rican is pandering till this day, now in 2025, to the Democratic Party after everything they've done to us. After we've been forgotten. Specifically, you got outraged with Bill Clinton. Let's not if you're going to talk about Bill Clinton, I'm going to, as a Puerto Rican, Hurricane Georges, the last Democrat, the last president before Obama that ever set foot in Puerto Rico was JFK. And that was 50 years before Obama. 50 years. Bill Clinton was president when one of the biggest, most traumatic hurricanes hit Puerto Rico in 1998. And that was Hurricane Georges. I was a kid. I lived through that hurricane. I was without power and water for 2 months and a half. I know what it is to have to shower with little fucking cubes of water and gallons of water because there was no water. We had to clean our own roads. We had to stand up and build Puerto Rico up from the ground. That president never visited us. And you're getting upset because Bill Clinton isn't a bad light talking about migrants? Bro, I want you. I'm giving you the opportunity. I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I'm giving you the opportunity to help me make sense of your logic because I don't get it. This righteous indignation for the wrong things, I just don't understand where it comes from. I just don't get it. I don't get it. You got to get on code. Yeah, thank you, Radical. Ramon, get on code. And no, don't love Trump. Look, that's another thing because people think, oh, she's just for Trump. She's just for Trump. She's just for Trump. I'm going to tell you something. I am not for Trump. We are not for Trump. Puerto Ricans, you cannot be for Trump. You cannot be for anybody because at the end of the day, Donald Trump, with the strike of his pen, can push for us to have Congress appoint a self-determination vote. He can do that. He has the power to do that. He can talk them into it. He knows exactly how to negotiate the deal. He chooses not to. So I can't really be like, oh yeah, he loves us. I can't be like that. You can de-writing is not, what is it that Tommy Sotomayor used to say? De-writing is not a method of transportation. Yeah, that I cannot. I have to be truthful here. That's why I supported Jill Stein, because Jill Stein and her platform stated that she was going to make sure that was getting done. And that is my interest as a Puerto Rican. Is the only candidate that ever mentioned us as a self-determinating group. Morena says that she's waiting for Donald Trump to run out of ink. Yeah, me too. 100%. 100%. So I don't understand why is it so hard? And the reason why I bring up, right, this concept of getting upset from Latinos, from getting upset about one party or the other. Guys, we need to smarten up. Black and white folks in this country have gotten the hint. We don't have a bipartisan. There's a reason why I keep telling you guys, start reading up the Princeton study. Start reading up about your constitution. Most people don't understand the Electoral College and why it was formed. I've explained that to a lot of people. You don't live in a democracy. You don't. You live in a police state. You live in an oligarchy, and at any time, your rights can be stripped from you, and there's nothing you can do about it because majority of Democrat supporting people support that your rights to possess a gun is taken from you. And I find it funny that it's very ironic that brothers like Ramon, fellow Latinos like Ramon, love the Democrats but live in a red state. Make it make sense. Make it, for the love of God, make it make sense. Please. I don't get it. We don't have two parties. If you follow the line, and it's something I wanted to highlight because people just don't get it. If Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump sound the same regarding illegal migrants, do we have two parties in this country? Please put it in the chat. Do we? If all of our politicians, no matter who wins, has the same agenda, and the previous president favors the agenda or contributes the agenda of the incoming president, no matter which party is that, do we have two political parties? Like my brother and favorite YouTuber says, Tim Black TV, both parties suck, Johnson. Come on. Come on. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Like, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand. Reagan, Clinton, Obama tightened restricted immigration laws more than any other presidents. Yet the last two seem to walk on water for people who suffered from what they created. Yeah, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. I need to study and focus like a laser on Barack Obama, because I need to study. That man is a professional psychopath, a professional gaslighter, and he gets away with it, and you love him. He's like the Ted Bundy of politicians. You freaking love that guy. He's so charismatic. You got to learn. We all have to learn from Barack. Barack is going to go down in history as the best president ever. And the reason for that is because people think he's a good guy because he knows how to disguise himself. He says to us, hola, buenas tardes. He puts Bad Bunny on his 50 most lovable songs every year, and you think he's your friend. We got to learn from Barack. Barack is running circles. We have nothing on Barack. Barack knew exactly the game he was playing, bro. He was earning that Martha's Vineyard property. He earned that. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to him. You gotta give it to him. Ooh, Lord. For real. Morena says, no way, Bad Bunny. Yeah, he puts Bad Bunny there because he knows he has to secure the Latin vote. But let me tell you something. During 2020, the BLM riots, I remember Chris Paul and LeBron James said, you know what? As a protest, we're going to shut down the fucking NBA. We're not playing. We're not dribbling and shutting up and dribbling. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Who they said, if you have Google in a different window that you can open, Somebody, I'm not gonna tell you who did this. You're gonna tell me. Somebody in the chat is gonna tell me. Look up in a different window, on a different tab. Somebody from our politicians was sent down there to put LeBron and Chris Paul in their place so they will start the NBA again. And I want you guys to tell me in the chat, who was that person? Who was that person? Who was that person? I want to know. I want to know. MSXC says, Los Estados Unidos fue poblado por latinos primero. The United States was first populated by Latinos. You know what's crazy, MXC? I agree with you. Because if you look at the not only the indigenous migration, like Aztecs and all that stuff, we know they came from there. Those migrations that populated America came all the way from the north. So we are all like descendants of those people or variations of those people. Thank you, Logix. It was Obama who took Chris Paul and LeBron, put them in their place and whooped them as a house ninja. You're gonna play, you're gonna dribble and shut up. You're gonna do this. And if you look at it, not only through the indigenous, but Florida, hello, California, Texas, it's not Texas, it's Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, all these places. Of course, it was Latinos first. The problem is that the person who holds the money dictates the rules, and America loves to erase history. They do it to blacks all the time. Right now, I think in Texas, Black Americans are supposedly willful immigrants that wanted to come here to better their lives and never slaves. That is the history they want to change. There's a reason why they don't want to put that in books, because it will not look good in 300 years when they're trying to keep their country alive, that America is known to be a slave country. That's the country that we're in. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. And Morena, yeah, I'm putting my tinfoil hat on it. I am 100%. There's too much evidence till this day. Till this day. So with that being said, guys, get your resumes. I hope you had your resumes ready. I hope you had your resumes ready, because to be honest, it's gonna get very sad. It's gonna get very sad. Morena says they took that out of Texas school books. Really, Morena? They took all the Black history out of the Texas school books? That is crazy. That is crazy. Oh wow. Yeah, MXC, all countries actually had slaves. That's 100% facts. Now, if you have a different tab, or if somebody has a different tab, I want you to look up which country in the world was the worst slaver in the world. I'm not going to tell you who it was. I want you to look it up. And there's a reason why you have the results you have in the United States. And not only the United States, you go to Ireland and you go to Scotland, you're going to see the same problems that you see in the Black community. Now, I mean, Mel Gibson did a soft movie on the Scottish Revolution against said country. What he doesn't show you in the movie is that William Wallace remains, just like it happened to Nat Turner, I think is his name. It's escaping my mind. His remains were scattered and brutalized, because that is what their slavers used to do. Their slavery was beyond the slavery that you're talking about in Spain and North Africa, etc., etc. The slavery that these people endured, it has no comparison to the. I'm not saying there was good slavery. Please don't misrepresent that. I'm just saying the methods of compliance, like how these slavers got people to comply, was in a specific way. And that way created specific results that make certain people behave a certain way. That's why we have common behaviors with Black Americans, but we also see that they have more paranoia, they have a little bit more combative and, defensive behavior because of what they've endured and survived. So I put that on the people that enslaved them because they never stopped coming after them. So I see that Morena says, yup, you learn U.S. history now, and Texas history and slavery is not in the textbooks, and I believe Mexican history too. But don't quote me on that one. It's crazy because there's a lot of, look, MXC, I don't know, I take you for a Mexican or Dominican, but if you're Mexican and you don't fucking know that picnics used to be for Blacks and you are out of your mind. I don't know you. Okay? You're in a country, and I was joking with MK the other day. You must have forgot. Like, you're in a country where bitches will come with charcuterie boards in a basket with a blanket to sit down to see a Mexican and a Black slave hung from a tree. That is the country you live in. Thank you, MK. Yeah, Nat Turner. He's my history teacher, so of course. Thank you. So yeah, that's the country that you live in. That is the activities of this country. When you look back into our nations, our activities were nothing like that. Nothing like that. They will imagine you're packing a charcuterie board in a blanket in a little basket. And you're like, oh, I'm going to meet you at the park. What are we going to do? We're going to sit down, watch some ninjas and grease balls and a beaner hang. That was the activity. This is the country. Hello. This is the country you're in. Yeah, okay, MXC, you're a lost cause. I can't really, I can't school the uneducated because respectfully, it comes off as you just trying to be, I hate to use this term, but you're coming off as you have contempt for Blacks. I'm sorry, but that's just how I'm taking it. And we know in the West, the worst slavery was the British slavery. And it's not made by me. That is something that it's in the books. That's something that's gone down in history. You can ask any freaking Irish, you can ask any freaking Scottish, they will tell you what they endure. And their tortures were just the same as the Black Americans' tortures. Look at Morena says, children observed those hangings. Jesus. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it. I'm putting it out there. I have no dog in the fight. Like I said, I'm not Black American. I'm not Mexican. But I know that those two groups endure some fucked up shit with this whites. I'm sorry. That's not, I didn't make it that way. That's just how history is. Logic says England brutally controlled India. Churchill split India into Pakistan and India. Yeah, 100% because of religion. He said just to spite them on their way out, creating most strife after centuries of colonization. Yeah, 100%. And if you look at Indians today, they're divided on one of the most basic, stupid things, which is religion. That's it. That's what divides Indians and Pakistanis. That's it. And that is the same thing that they do to us. I'm sorry. They divide us so that we don't take care of them. That's it. That is literally the problem. That's literally the problem. Look at him. Here we go with MXC. No, you are pro-Black, but nothing I have said is not a fact. I'm not saying that you're not, what you're saying is not facts. All I'm saying is that you're grabbing African history and claiming that in the West, in our hemisphere, in our side of the world, that was the worst slavery out of all of our groups. When that is not true, first, because hello, if Africans were more brutal than everybody else, why they're not dominating the world. They used to, they're not. So again, we're talking about post or during colonial times, European colonial times, after the fragmentation of the Roman Empire. That's what I'm talking about. Please, let's just stop. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, guys, we're back to the job sites are empty and what that represents for America. American workers ask for this. American workers want this. But I'm going to say something. I might sound crazy today. Like Morena says, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat. I'm going to tell you something. This whole job sites being empty, this raids, like I stated on Wednesday, we don't have the infrastructure to deport 50 million people. We don't. And I don't know if you guys, right, catch on the same talking point that Donald Trump has today. There's a specific line that Donald Trump, that Barack Obama, that Hillary Clinton, and that Bill Clinton have when they talk about illegal migrants. And I don't know if you guys catch it, but they all mention the criminal illegal migrant. Or that one has to be deported. Now, let me ask you something. If only the criminal gets deported, where do we stuff? Where do we stuff the non-criminal? Because I don't hear nothing about the non-criminal. I don't hear anything about the non-criminal. I see that Morena says he's sending 30K to Guantanamo. Yeah, he is. And I don't know if you conveniently can put together how conveniently Obama emptied Guantanamo and now it's empty and ready to receive this. It's like, it's so weird. Like it's so weird that people cannot see how this is so anti-populist. Like it's so, it just keeps being delivered as a beautiful composed song, right? Like it's pre-organized. Like they are shaking hands, they are doing things exactly to help one another, you know? So to the sponsors, because this is just as much as exciting for, you know, this episode is so much for the American worker that has been crushed and not allowed to unionize because, you know, illegal migrants keep pushing the labor costs down, choking the American worker, as much as for the sponsors that think that migrants need to stay here. I want to leave you, if you're a sponsor, I want to leave you with this. Okay. If you're one of those that are for the sentiment of, but who's going to pick my crops? Who's going to pack the meat? I'm going to tell you something. You're basically saying, help corporations in their human trafficking scheme so that I can keep young food affordable. That's literally what that is. Please, big corps, keep human trafficking these illegals so that I can purchase cheap houses. That's literally what that is. There's no way around that. That's basically what you're pandering to. So you think that following the lines of mainstream media of who's going to pick the crops, Americans don't want to do this job, do you want to pay $10 for a papaya? You think that you're helping the case for the migrants. But what you're doing is helping corporations continue human trafficking. And if you can sleep on that, If you can stomach that, then by all means, go and get it. Keep doing it. I cannot. I want Americans or sponsored migrants, right, to do those jobs. And there's a reason. I don't know if again, people keep not putting two and two together. People are like, oh, you know how hard it is to get a green card. And you think it's not on purpose? You think it's not on purpose that green cards are so hard to obtain and there's a waiting line for them? They make those green cards scarce and every few in between so that you have to forcefully migrate here illegally because it's a better way to exploit you even further. That's by design. And you're just a fool and you don't see it. Morena says, I brought eggs and it went up $5.49 per dozen. Morena, are those regular eggs with hormones or without? Because here, the ones with somewhat hormones were cage-free are $7.49. The ones that are like, I buy for my son that are cage-free, antibiotic-free. You can even log in. I'm not telling nobody to buy those, right? But I recommend the pasture-raised ones. You can even each pack, like each dozen of eggs, comes with information where you can log in and see the farm in real time. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. Logic says nobody mentions the missing 450,000 children that Biden just quote unquote lost. Don't people see human trafficking in plain sight? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Do you guys remember the African American lady during the Obama administration that was the whistleblower for the kids that were missing from the cages and the women in the ICE detention centers that were getting SA'd by ICE agents? That it's human trafficking. And it's done on purpose. All of this is by design. So no, I don't oh, look at Morena. She says the cage free and the others are from 7 to 16. Jesus. Logic says Reagan made it difficult to get green cards. Clinton made it longer. Obama made it harder and still and even longer than that. You know what's crazy? Reagan created the Dream Act. And I happen to have a person that I directly know. I know 3 dreamers. They're awesome young men. And the desperation that I feel, and I'm not even a dreamer, the desperation I feel for them to get a citizenship is infinite. And the fact that people don't know how much dreamers have to pay yearly just for the right to be a dreamer, and you cannot go back, you cannot get out of the United States, you have to be fully employed, if not fully employed, you have to be in school, like you have to be productive, you are always on your toes, because if you don't, you're gonna lose your status. It's so crazy. So that's another layer that I want to keep bringing up to people. Do you think it's not a slap in the face to those dreamers that jobs are not as available anymore because they need the jobs? This is not a question of, it's not optional if you're a dreamer to be employed. You have to be employed. Have. Okay. So for the people that, again, keep making arguments, I'm asking just questions. Do you think it's fair? Let's take it out of us, the American worker. Let's put it on them. Do you think it's fair? Do you think they deserve that? Do you think they deserve to be sent back? Because the 3 dreamers I know have been here since they were 1 or 2 years old. They barely know Spanish. And the one that does know Spanish, his Spanish is like a gringo. He's more American than they are Mexican, because the 3 of them are from Mexico. But the 3 of them are more American than they are Mexican. They've never lived in Mexico. They are us. Do you think they fucking deserve their lives to be uprooted back to Mexico because they can't find a fucking job because we keep pandering to corporations to human traffic illegal people? Like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you insane? I see that Radical says regular non-DEI eggs are $5.99, but the trans eggs are $1.99, and that's how they infect our kids. Yeah, they changed the way they, they changed the way they think. Hey, what's up, Rakim? Yeah, it's crazy to me that none of those things matter. None of those things matter every time we open our mouth to babble the same things that we are taught by Rachel Maddow, by CNN, etc., etc., etc. I'm gonna start like wrapping this up. I'm gonna say something for my average Latin explainer, guys. The curiosity, because I've gotten from a lot of people, oh, you think you're better than anybody, you talk down to people, you're condescending. I am not. I'm an average person. For God's sakes, I'm a sound engineer. There's nothing else I do with my life. I'm a mom now. I'm a stay-at-home mom. The only reason why I can come on this shows and tell you guys stuff that you think sounds intelligent is because I am still curious. I don't take pre-digested information. I refuse to do that. I made that standard for myself. I don't like pre-digested information. I like to go at the source. And every time I share something with you guys, I try to bring receipts so that you guys can also go and get them. And I also tell you guys, don't take my word for it. Go and read it yourself, because I want you to stay as curious as me. I want people to sit down and have conversations that are going to help the people. If I'm the only one that remains curious in this little speck of YouTube, that is useless, because then we cannot form and do something. And I'm just speaking into a void. I want you to be the same. We're all the same. So I'm not talking down on people, but at some point I gotta hold people responsible. When people tell me you're talking down to people, you're being condescending, you're punching down, or you think you're better than anybody. If I remain curious and you didn't, and we have the same amount of time every day, why is that my fault? Why should I get penalized for your lack of curiosity? I'm just gonna leave that out there. I'm just gonna leave that out there. When you see, I want to ask, has anybody of those people that always love to hate, have you sat down and read every single executive order? Or you're just taking what the media is telling you that the executive order is? Don't answer. If you're here, don't answer. Please don't. But if you have not read those executive orders, that should tell you as a reference, I need to get curious. My country is being stripped from me. My rights are being stripped from me. I need to get curious. They cannot keep killing my curiosity. And America does an excellent job, a formidable job at keeping you busy enough, distracted enough, so that you don't get curious. And we saw it in 2020 when they couldn't keep you busy. The Kardashians couldn't shut a freaking episode. The NBA was not able to play. All these people were just staying at home. NFL shut down. All this stuff shut down. People started focusing on what really matters. They don't want that. The managerial class did not like that. That's why Obama had to go and restart the NBA. So curiosity is what makes me, quote unquote, better, which I'm not. I'm just curious. Morena says tinfoil hats on, because they will have you thinking it's not really happening. So you're called a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, conspiracy theories are spoiler alerts. That's all they are right now. Nowadays, that's all they are. That's all they are. So don't let people gaslight you out of your rights. Don't let the managerial class gaslight you out of critical thinking. Don't let the managerial class gaslight you out of curiosity. Look stuff up. If you don't understand something, because when I started looking into stuff, I couldn't understand the slang. And there's a lady that does business. She used to work for Goldman Sachs, and I follow her career a lot. She has a wonky YouTube channel. I don't necessarily love her YouTube channel, but Cody Sanchez explained in the Diary of a CEO, her interview is really good. I recommend it to anybody. She explained that in business, in corporate, a lot of people use complex language so that you and me don't get into those spaces and do what they do, because it's real simple. She literally explained it that way. This is a woman that comes from a successful career at Goldman Sachs. Okay, so that is the same with politics. So the only way for you to get into these things is to start asking questions to yourself. Hey, but what if this? And what is the, okay, I didn't understand this. So I'm going to reread it. I'm going to look it up. And it takes some time for you to get those critical thinking and curiosity juices going. But once you get them going, you're not going to be able to stop, because there's not a novela, not a reality TV, not a sport, not an Olympic, not a concert, not a CD drop, not a single music video that can be more important, more entertaining, and more cultivating than your politics. I can guarantee you that. Moreno says, Denise, they don't teach the kids critical thinking skills. That is now the parents' job. Yeah, 100%, 100%. It has to be your job. Don't let, if you want poor results on anything, let the government be the boss. I want to leave you with that. I'm going to repeat it again. If you want poor results in anything, let the government be the boss. Implement that in every aspect of your life, your kids, your critical thinking, your health, everything, and you'll see different results. With that being said, guys, this has been another episode of Latinexplaining with Denise. I am very blessed to be with you guys today, and I thank every single one of you, even if we agree or disagree, for allowing me to be in your devices and in your homes once again. Thank you very much for the vote of confidence, for always tuning in, for participating in the conversation and hearing what I have to say. I'm really grateful for that. And with that being said, have an excellent weekend. I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to keep going on this. I promise you it's going to be an excellent week next week. We're going to see what madness stems from the administration of Donald J. Trump. With that being said, guys, peace. Have a good night.